What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Everything Weapons. Today we're discussing how Pentagon's ability to supply Ukraine with more Patriot interceptors is questioned by Congress. So the Senate action comes amid deep concerns about how the U.S. can provide enough Patriot interceptors for itself and even allies. So all credit to thewarzone.com. This was published by Howard Altman. So, concerned with Ukraine's ability to protect itself from the onslaught of Russian missile and drone attacks, the Senate Armed Services Committee, or SASC, is demanding to know if the Pentagon can increase deliveries of Patriot air defense system interceptors to that war-torn nation. This comes against the backdrop of extreme U.S. and allied demand on dwindling supplies of these weapons. As we have previously noted, between U.S. usage in recent Middle East conflicts and commitments to Ukraine and nearly 20 other nations, there have long been concerns about the supply of Patriot interceptors. Still, the Pentagon has maintained that it has sufficient supplies and enough, right? It is hard to say precisely how many Patriot interceptors remain in Ukraine's stockpile. The New York Times recently noted with the number is classified at the end of the June of last year, 2025, there were as few as 16 in Ukraine's arsenal. The publication stated, given the low supplies and constant Russian bombardment, Ukrainian President Zelensky has frequently requested additional interceptors from the U.S. and its allies, and SASC said it recognizes the importance of Patriot air defense systems and Patriot advanced capability interceptors in supporting Ukraine's self-defense, and notes continued concerns regarding interceptor availability, production capability, and impact of transfers on United States military readiness. Accordingly, the committee directs the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, to submit a report to the Congressional Defense Committees no later than October 1st of this year, 2026, assessing the feasibility of increasing deliveries of PAC-3 interceptors to Ukraine, its directive states. So we have reached out to the committee to find out which variant of the PAC-3 they are referring to. Lockheed Martin is boosting production of the more advanced current generation Patriot PAC-3 missile segment enhancement, or MSE interceptors, and it is unclear how many of the other variants are still being made or are in U.S. stockpiles. SASC wants the following info from the Pentagon. So they want an assessment of current and projected Ukrainian requirements for PAC-3 interceptors over the next 12 months. They also want an assessment of the availability of PAC-3 interceptors from existing Department of Defense inventories for transfer to Ukraine and the impact of such transfers on the United States military readiness and operational plans. They also want an evaluation of options to accelerate production of PAC-3, including through multi-year procurement authorities, advanced procurement, expanded supplier capability, and other industrial base investments. SASC also wants to know from the Pentagon an assessment of the feasibility of increasing annual PAC-3 interceptor production and the anticipated timeline for achieving such increases. They also want to know an identification of any statutory, regulatory, or contractual or supply chain barriers to increasing interceptor deliveries to Ukraine. And they also want to know from the Pentagon an assessment of opportunities for allied and partner nations operating Patriot systems to contribute additional PAC-3 interceptors to Ukraine, including options from United States backfill arrangements. And lastly, they want recommendations for legislative or administrative actions that would enable increased interceptor deliveries to Ukraine while maintaining acceptable levels of U.S. military readiness. In addition, the committee said the secretary should brief the congressional defense committees on the findings of the report no later than 15 days after its submission. The Pentagon on Wednesday declined comment on the committee's report, how many interceptors it has provided to Ukraine, or whether it has the ability to increase that supply. We have reached out to Lockheed Martin as well and are awaiting response. So the War Zone recently addressed the supply of these munitions in a story about a new report from the Center for Strategic and International Studies. The report on the severity of the depletion of U.S. advanced weapon stockpiles found that current production PAC-3s is around the baseline rate of 650 interceptors per year, with half the deliveries going to the United States and the rest to allies and partners and Ukraine. Under a contract with the Pentagon, inked in January, Lockheed is committed to boosting Patriot annual production to 2,000 per year. Because U.S. procurement in the last decade has averaged 2 to 5 missiles per year, deliveries from prior years will not be enough to fully replace what has been used. SIS cautioned. For that, the United States will need to wait for the 3,203 Patriot missiles requested in the Army's FY 2027 budget. These are projected to start delivery in May of 2029. So, yeah, like lots of Patriots are used. And the main concern here is America needs its readiness, and it's like, are we just going to give them all to allies in Ukraine? But thank you guys very much for watching. We will see this back and forth between Pentagon and Congress. So the main concern here is America giving away too many Patriot interceptors, as the Pentagon is questioning Congress. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It all depends on the Russian-Ukraine war and how that is going to play out in the next years, approaching 2030. But personally, I'm America first, and I think we shouldn't be giving interceptors to anyone. I think we should all have them for home defense, but that's just me and my nationalist beliefs. But type a comment down below of what you think. It's just the Ukraine-Russia conflict is just so complex, and it's just so unfortunate, and I think we've given way too much to Ukraine. And I think they should remain sovereign, obviously, and they have a right to exist. But it's like, at what cost to America, impacting us, taking all of our weapons. But yeah, subscribe, ring the bell, that way you don't miss any video I post in the future. Take a look, check out the older content on the channel, guys. And until next time, I will see you in my next video. Take care.